Shepherding Sam. Chapter 5, Part 2. Sam wandered back toward the fire. "Hey, Elias, is it time to go yet?" "No, it isn't," said Elias. Macrina rolled her eyes at Sam. She could roll her eyes faster and harder than anyone else in the world. Sam rolled his eyes right back at her. "Is there going to be a dragon in this story?" asked Matthew, ignoring them. "Yes, and here it comes," said Macrina. "One day, a huge dragon came to the land where the nun was living. It was running around, eating people and sheep and blowing fire breath on the town." "I don't like this part," cried Bridget, clutching Macrina's arm. "Don't worry," said Macrina. "The dragon doesn't win." "Now it's our turn," shrieked the boys. "We're coming to save the nun." Bridget stared at them. "I'm going to tell it," said Elias. "You act it out, Matthew." Matthew jumped off his rock and stalked around the fire with his stick, hunting the dragon. Sam turned his back so they wouldn't think he was paying attention to their stupid story. He looked around. Grown-ups were everywhere, eating and talking. It would be hours before they went home. Sam sighed gustily. "So then," began Elias, "the nun heard about the dragon too, and she was really freaked out. The dragon could even have started a forest fire." Bridget squeaked. "The nun was praying and praying," continued Elias. Matthew set his stick down for a minute and pretended to be the nun praying. He crossed himself and lay down flat on the earth to show she was praying a whole lot. "And just when she was praying, the dragon jumped out of the woods on one side of her hut, and the biggest soldier in the neighborhood jumped out of the woods on the other side of her hut, right in front of her," shouted Elias. Matthew leaped up, roaring and pawing the air. Then he ran around to the other side of Elias and leaped again, brandishing his sword. Bridget stood up on her rock, dancing in circles. Macrina clutched the back of Bridget's dress so she wouldn't fall. Sam peeked over his shoulder for 2 seconds. He noticed Saucer beyond Macrina's rock, edging toward the children. Saucer's eyes followed all their movements. He looked like a person watching a tennis match. Sam snickered. Elias gazed at his audience. He was pleased that they could tell how thrilling his story was. The nun kept right on praying, but she was excited too because her prayers already made the soldiers show up. The dragon was stomping all over the place, blowing fire at the trees. Then he turned around and saw the nun. He wanted to eat her up. It was crazy. Macrina stopped flipping her braid around and hung on to Bridget with both hands. Matthew picked up Elias's stick, so he had a stick in each hand now. The soldier went running right at the dragon, waving 2 swords. Elias waved his hand at Matthew, and Matthew charged around the rock no one was sitting on, hammering it with his 2 sticks. The nun prayed hard, and the soldier fought like crazy with his swords. No matter how much the dragon blew fire, he kept right on fighting. And then... Elias paused. Bridget's eyes were round. She nearly fell off the rock. And then... the dragon turned around and started chasing the nun. Whoa! They were all running like crazy. First the nun, and she was yelling her prayers as loud as she could and hoping she didn't fall down. And then the dragon was running after her, and the soldier was running after him. It was in the woods, and they were weaving back and forth through the trees. Elias started weaving around on his rock, overbalanced, waved his arms wildly, and jumped backwards onto the grass. Matthew threw his 2 sticks over the empty rock and started running around it at top speed. Saucer ran after him, barking and wagging his whole body. "Yay!" shrieked Bridget. "Yay, nun! Run fast!" Sam stood up. "This story is stupid," he said. He brushed the grass off his pants and stomped away. Bridget kept jumping on the rock. Elias and Matthew stood still. "That was really mean," said Elias, his shoulders drooping. Saucer sat down on Elias's foot and licked his leg comfortingly. Macrina flipped her braid over her shoulder. "Don't even worry about what Sam thinks," she said. "You can ignore him. He's hopeless." Elias glared at Macrina, more irritated with her than with Sam. "It's mean to call him hopeless." "Well, nobody likes how he behaves," said Macrina in her most grown-up voice. "Nobody likes how you behave either," said Matthew, putting his arm around his brother. "The grown-ups do," said Macrina indignantly. "Right," said Elias. "Come on, Matthew. Let's get some more food." The 2 boys walked away, and Saucer trotted behind them. Macrina shook her head and smoothed her skirt. She turned to the little girl still standing beside her on the rock. "Do you want another story, Bridget?" "No," said Bridget. "I want my ladybug back. Where did it go?" And without further warning, Bridget burst into tears.